Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, the headline, the title that I have given this particular video is really the narrative of this video, and once I have brought to you this story, you will see exactly why I have chosen that particular title. So with that guys, I bring you this: no attempt to whittle down Osinbajo's influence, APC. So that's the headline: no attempt to whittle down Osinbajo's influence, and this comment is being attributed to the APC. So now let's see what these people have to say. The ruling All Progressive Congress APC has debunked reports of an attempt to whittle down the roles of our Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in the President Muhammadu Buhari administration. The reports, mostly on social media, claimed that a cabal in the presidency was trying to render the office of the vice president ineffective and subject the incumbent person to humiliation. President Buhari, in his Independence Anniversary address to Nigerians on Tuesday, announced plans to move the National Social Investment Program (NSIPS) to the newly created Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The programs had been domiciled under the office of the Vice President since they were created in 2016. The programs under the NSIPS are to be moved from the Vice President's office to the new ministry include N-Power, conditional cash transfers, national homegrown schools feeding, and government enterprise programs. However, in a statement by spokesperson Larry Isaonilu on Wednesday, APC dismissed the reports attributing the movement to a rift between President Buhari and Mr. Osinbajo as one of the many fake news flying around in recent days. The party said the fake news began after the setting up of the Economic Advisory Council (EAC), comprising some of Nigeria's most independent-minded economists, some vocally critical of government fiscal policies, to advise the president on economic matters, including physical analysis, economic growth, and a range of internal and global economic issues, working with the relevant cabinet members and heads of monetary and fiscal agencies. The vice president statutorily heads the National Economic Council with members including state governors, governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning. Constitutionally, whilst the power of the vice president is derived from the president, the conspirators deliberately chose to ignore Section 141 of the Constitution, which spells out the vice president's statute membership of the National Security Council, the National Defense Council, the Federal Executive Council, and the chairman of National Economic Council, the APC statement said. The party said President Buhari's decision to move NSIPS to the new ministry does not portend crisis at the presidency. The conspirators are deliberately trying to link government decisions on NSIP, which have been under the office of the vice president since it started in 2016, to support of conspiracies, however mundane. In the same October 1st address, the president announced the recent redeployment of Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs from the office of Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Was this also to whittle down the power of the OSGF. So now this is now the question that they are rounding off with. But then of course we all already know that the knives are out for Yemi Osinbajo. There's absolutely no question about that. They do not trust him and they do not like him and they deem him to be a Tinubu boy. There's absolutely no question about that. That is even beyond reproach. There's no reproach in that statement. It is categorical and is quite visible even for somebody of poor sight to see. So we know that this guy is on the ropes. They've been punching him down and beating him down for pretty much God knows how long. And now the final nail in the coffin is now being administered with this public stripping naked that we have seen now of this guy now. So he's now effectively a lame duck within the regime. He's just there to sit there and look pretty like some fine girl that you just toasted. So you tell her to sit down and shut up when you're talking business, and then when you need her services you call upon her. That is effectively the role that Yemi Osinbajo has now within this administration now. How the mighty are falling. A law professor from the most prestige university in Nigeria has now been debased in this way by the Malamis. Because have absolutely no doubt this guy has been stripped to the bare bones. This guy has been stripped to the bare bones and he has been used and dumped. We have repeated that phrase severally on this channel every single time that we have felt the need to do a video about Yemi Osinbajo, and every single time that phrase just immediately springs to mind. Used and dumped, because you have to remember that this is the one credible face in the public face of this Malam Buhari regime. This is the one person that carries enough of a gravitas for anybody of thinking to really pay attention to say, okay, let me hear what this guy has to say, because he has antecedents and he has pedigree and he has grounding. So they've exploited all that is the makeup of this guy that he has built up in all his life, and they have now used all of that cachet that this guy has to then send him to market squares to be handing out 10,000 naira. So now that they have used him now and exploited him, they've asked him to bend over and drop his trousers, and they have had their full enjoyment. Now they are debasing him now with this now really very vulgar thing that we are seeing playing out in the public space. So now however you choose to spin it, whatever level of obfuscation that you are able to use, the facts still stand on their own. This is a guy that was in a powered position within the regime that had a lot of clout and a lot of status. So if you are now removing all of the things that all of those clout and status are vested on, then that then sends the signal that you have lost confidence in this person, because even the powers that are vested in this guy's office constitutionally, they are still asking him to seek presidential approval before he carries out these powers. So anything that the constitution allows Osinbajo to do, because the constitution also gives Buhari oversight over Osinbajo, what they are now saying to him is that before you do anything, you have to run it by Abakwari first. This is now the fate that has befallen this Osinbajo fella now, having now run around all of the market squares in Nigeria, handing out 10,000 naira to Yaolojas, and this is the payback now. So this is now really how these people truly do see him. Used and dumped is something I feel they need to repeat again, because this is really the going on here. Used and dumped is effectively the narrative of this guy now. It's quite pitiable, but you can't feel sorry for him really, because he's really a willing sacrifice to these people. We remember when this guy went to America and said the Fulani are slaughtering Yoruba people all over Yoruba land is just a hyperbole and is an exaggeration, and nothing like that was happening. We all heard that speech, a Yoruba man going to America to say that the Fulani slaughtering the Yorubas, which was happening every single day, was a hyperbole. So this is now where this guy lost all of his credibility completely, even if he had any credibility at all to start off with, which I very much doubt. Certainly not with me, because I have always found him a bit of a laughable character. He's even more comical to me really than Dino Melaye, but the joke now is now being shared by Malam Buhari and the rest of the cabal by now publicly stripping him naked and parading him in the market square. Conversations in the comment section is what I am inviting Yemi Osinbajo, and this public shaming and this pointing and laughing at him by the whole of the Nigerian state is what I am asking you to come voice a view on. But before you come share your thoughts with me about this, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you are making of the goings on in the life and times of the vice president of the Mahmoud Yakub appointed presidency of the Nigerian state. So come tell me about all this. So I'll leave you here, join you in comments, but here I say peace.